We started in the
So sorry, just catching up here. So where's the Tricholoma?
Welcome to Taxonomy Tuesday, Dave, and everybody else, where we share our finds from the week or something that Bruce brought in and we're about to show you. We usually do show and tell style, but tonight I think we might jump right to email. You can email your find or put it in the chat to let me know. And let's jump in it. We'll grab Bruce's find here. Or Bruce, sorry.
Yeah, BF64215 is the email.
Oh, there's a picture, and there it is.
There's a picture I sent with shows the gills. It's very crowded and appears to be notched or not attached almost underneath. And as you can see, the stalks are have a very fibrous kind of fibrillose.
Any odor?
The American and National League finally combined into two. They were all legitimate major league. Yeah, one time. I think so.
The gills were super tight. They were very, very close. Crowded.
Yeah, the Federal League.
Did I miss the top of the cap shot?
They're also very thick, probably because there's so many gills in there and the caps are still small.
Yep.
Do we have more images of this?
Yeah, there's a couple more.
Was there any odor noted for these?
I didn't smell any, but I didn't scratch them either.
Yeah, it's in dry weather. A variety of different types of mushrooms can have caps that dry out and crack up like that. And it's been dry for the last 7 to 10 days. In my experience, the Tricholoma that is most common during the summer is Tricholoma saponaceum, which smells like soap. I don't think this is A. estuans. I heard that name mentioned before. That one is kind of greenish and shiny. It's more of a fall species in my experience.
Yeah,
that's not a ring on the stalk, is it? That's just like the stalk is cracked, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't see a ring for a veil on any of them.
Yeah, I see on the other ones there's no ring. Yeah, that's just a crack.
And to get back to your main issue here, Bruce, I think that's how you're going to make sure you don't have this thing and you have your wine caps instead, right?
Exactly. I have a whole field of wine caps we just inoculated, and we got mycelium growing through everything, but all of a sudden these started popping up.
Yeah, I can understand why that would be concerning, especially, if you're cultivating those wine caps.
Yeah, dirty tricks. I mean, this could look like a wine cap to somebody picking, especially if it's darker on top.
Oh, yeah, I didn't take into account, whoever's picking might not know the difference or what to look for, but real simply, wine caps are going to have an annulus, right?
Yeah, exactly. They'll be purpler. They'll have the veil. The tops will hopefully be redder than this, but if they come up together, it's okay if they're not poisonous. But if this is a dirty trick, it's not edible.
Wine caps can have faded caps that crack and that look like.
Yeah, that's my point. Yeah, I've seen the more faded wine caps, and if these look darker, they could be mistaken. So that's why I was hoping I could get an ID on these today.
Now, did you make sure the gills were attached to the stalk? Because they're kind of deeply embedded. Where there would be an attachment is pretty deeply embedded. Because I'm wondering if this could be Pluteus petasatus.
Yeah, I don't think this is Tricholoma.
No?
Yeah, I was just wondering about petasatus as well.
It seems to me they're growing in clusters, and the substrate is mulch or some kind of a woody
Yeah,
debris.
it's almost
Not soil.
all hardwood chips.
There you
You
go.
can tell with a microscope very easily if you have Pluteus petasatus. Just smash a little bit of gill in. You only need water, really. I mean, a stain is a little better, but you will find lots of really large hymeneal cystidia all over a smash mount of gill material if it's Pluteus petasatus or any other species from Pluteus section Pluteus. Tricholomas, on the other hand, I don't think they have all that many really notable cystidia. But so the spores for Tricholoma would be white. All the Tricholomas have white
Yeah,
spores.
so there's a picture with the spores, not a close up, just that they're almost a tan color.
Yeah, that's Pluteus then. Yeah, these are probably Pluteus petasatus. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
let's
think
see
there was
this.
a picture with spores.
Yeah, there's a couple of them on a plate.
No, I didn't get that. That's all I got is these 5.
All right, here.
Oh, look at there. The gills look like they're getting a little pinkish there in this fit. There might just be a shadow though.
Taxonomy, Tuesday at njmyco.org, right?
Yes. And anytime in the future anyone wants to share a picture like this, you can always just pop it in the chat, I think.
Yeah, I'm getting nothing yet.
Go to the chat.
Oh, there it is.
There you go. You can see them on the edge of the plate. They come out kind of tan.
Oh, I think I see it. It's very thin. It's hard to see in the photo, but I'll take your word for it that it's kind of tan. That suggests Pluteus. Pluteus mushrooms have spore print colors that are described as either pinkish or tannish or light brown. There's kind of an overlap, among those 3 colors. I think that's what you probably have here.
Yeah, well, that'll be good news for me.
Yeah. You should definitely do a little micro on some of these.
Yeah, I'm going to have to.
Yeah. Just the spore. I mean, I guess Tricholomas. No. Pluteus and Tricholoma spores look nothing alike either, right?
Yeah. Tricholoma spores are small and thin, and they're hard to see, actually. You need to stain them. They are really very transparent. Pluteus spores will show up even in water because they're slightly pigmented. They're a little bit bigger and rounder generally than Tricholoma spores. But the gill smash mount is what should seal the deal for you here if this is Pluteus. You smash a little bit of gill and just look at it at 400 times and you'll see these plural cystidia all over. Some of them will have horns. Some of them won't have horns. They'll have thick walls. They'll be difficult to miss.
All right. All right. Well, that's a good place for me to start. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your share. Would anybody like to share from their computer, or should we keep moving through emails?
Well, Pluteus I always called the deer mushrooms, right? Do you think this is the same species as the deer mushroom that we just saw?
Well,
or is it a
deer
different
mushroom
genus?
is applied rather broadly.
Yeah.
I think people, honestly, around the world probably refer to a variety of different species that are housed in Pluteus section Pluteus. There are two other sections of Pluteus, and those mushrooms look a fair amount different. But the ones in Pluteus section Pluteus are typically lumped together and called deer mushrooms. And one explanation for the moniker deer mushroom is that, at least in the Cervinus complex, which are very similar to petasatus, but usually a little bit grayer or browner on the cap. They have a cap color that looks a little like the color of a deer. But another explanation is that the cystidia with the horns are reminiscent of a deer head.
They're like
So
antlers, right?
like antlers, yeah. So Pluteus petasatus is it's not that far removed from Pluteus cervinus, which is really a name that's applied rather broadly, because there's probably several different distinct species that typically get lumped into that concept. Also, I've been told by Alfredo Justo, who's the North American expert on genus Pluteus, that Pluteus petasatus manifests in a widely variable morphology and occupies a wide variety of different types of habitat. So some of these are going to look nothing like yours, even if they're the same species.
All right, cool. That's great. Well, thank you very much. Again, thanks,
Sure.
everybody.
Martin has something in the chat.
Yeah, it looked like a cauliflower mushroom, but what was weird was the top looks like it's melting, so it doesn't taper to a thin edge. It sort of has a fat edge, and I don't know if that's just because it's decomposing and it's old. I didn't take many photos, I'm afraid.
There it is.
Beautiful.
By horses or mules across.
Oh, that's a Sparassis, all right.
Yeah, I'd say probably the opposite of what you were thinking. This is probably young growth, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what they do? They kind of start thicker at the edge, and then as they mature, they kind of thin out a little bit.
Just east of
Yeah, this one looks really beautiful. Really in perfect condition.
But I mean, it was like a foot across. It wasn't small, so.
Oh, a nice big one too.
Okay.
Well, not real big, but good size. So I mix up my species names here. I know there's one Spatularia, but I don't think that's this.
Americana or
Americana, maybe, yeah. Yeah, because it doesn't make it's not forming the little spatula-like ends of the fronds. Looks really nice.
And they're all edible. There's nothing similar that it's easy to mistake that for.
Well, I suppose a person could mistake a large cluster of Sebacina schweinitzii for this.
Yeah, but if it is a foot, nearly a foot, that's too big for Sebacina.
Yeah,
right?
this is not Sebacina schweinitzii. Yeah. I'm just pointing out that that's one thing that could be mistaken for this. I'm trying to think of something else, but this picture shows unmistakably a species of Sparassis.
Okay.
Is it me, or is this thing growing on the side of something as opposed to flat on the ground?
Yeah, it's attached to the side of the base of a tree.
That is interesting. I've never found one like that.
Oh, they normally grow out the ground?
Well, but they do grow from wood. They often are found on the ground, but they are saprobes. They do grow on wood.
Okay. I don't remember if it was a dead snag or a live one. I should have taken better notes, but I just thought it was weird that the tips of it were so sort of fused like coral and less tapered.
Yeah, I think that's another point toward the species americana, opposed to, what's the other one? Sparassis, spatularia.
The spatularia, and there's one other one. I'm going to look it up. I'll be back.
Yeah. But I think spatularia, like you said, has those thin fan-like edges. And americana might be less inclined to do so, although in maturity they do thin out a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, this is definitely Sparassis. Looks like a good one to eat too.
Yeah, I don't see not one bug in this photo at all.
Yeah, it looked fairly clean. I assumed it was because it was old that it was decomposing, but if it's young, that's fantastic. So.
Yeah, these things get huge. I mean,
yeah, this will all get longer.
Yeah, it grows up kind of. I found one last summer in maturity. It was like probably closer to 2 feet and also equally raised up. Maybe not as much, like a foot up. But yeah, they get massive when they get older.
Thank you. I just want to check because I'd never seen one of those before, so I wasn't quite sure what to look for.
Yeah, it's a cool find.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Thank you.
Hey, Hunter, did you want to go?
I'll have to agree with her.
Yeah, just one more comment before Hunter starts. I'm going to put into the chat a link to a mushroom expert. I actually think this is Sparassis, spathulata. It's actually spathulata. Apparently, I guess when they get a little older and grow out a little more, the spatula type ends of the fronds become more evident. But there's a photo on Mushroom Observer. It looks just like the one we just saw. So I'm going to put it into the chat. Sorry.
And also, one more thing came into my head. The other one is Crispa, right? And that
that name might be deprecated in favor of one of these other names we're using. There's radicata, but that grows under conifers, and I think it's mostly a Western species. So americana and spathulata seem to be the two names. I'll look on Michael Quebec just to make sure. Anyway, I put a link into the chat. You can see what Mushroom Observer has, or Mushroom Expert has to say.
But you think it's americana, not the spatula one?
Yeah, I think it's americana.
Okay.
It's just not grown out yet. Look at the photo on Mushroom Expert.
Yeah, no, I see that.
Yeah, apparently what happens with this species is when it gets a little older and the ends of the fronds start to project a little more, they look a little bit like spatulas, I guess. It's not a species I find all that often, really.
Me neither. I'm totally jealous. We don't get those here really at all, but I found a few elsewhere on the West Coast in Arkansas, but never here. So yeah, Martin, I'm envious. Nice find. Maybe I'll see some out there this month. I did see on Facebook, on the NJMA site, someone else had posted several fruitings of Sparassis, really, really young, small ones coming in on like very decayed wood. It was interesting display, just as Martin's was, the way it was growing, not just like how I think we usually find those. But anyways, this is Picipes badius, the black-footed polypore, I'm pretty positive. And I just shared the picture because it's just such a nice fruiting of them. I don't think I ever seen so many so fresh at one time. I guess that's the only picture, but there is, one of them is flipped, I thought, to show the underside, and I might have blown it and maybe not included it. But when they're young like this, they appear to have almost no pores on the underside. It's a really smooth surface, and kind of rubbery, and it's kind of neat. But they have a black stem as they mature, and they can be really colorful. But that's, I'm pretty certain what this is, and it was nice to see it, and it should be on probably oak. I'm thinking, but you can see it's very decayed, so hard to say for sure.
Hunter, were these wet?
Yeah, we have been we've had a ton of rain. It's almost like, you know, when there's so much rain, there's actually not a lot of mushrooms because they're all kind of beaten down, and the ground so kind of compacted that they're not coming up. I mean, I'm not complaining, but I'm just saying that's the kind of wet it was. Yep, soaking this morning. Yeah,
I hope all that weather comes this way. Jeez.
yeah, yes, I think it will. I'm hoping, and yes, I'm really hoping, and yeah, I say just, you know, I try to not get too attached, because then it seems to elude me. So I would recommend, you know, just try to forget about it, and yeah, hopefully it's gonna head your way. I'm hoping. So yeah, let's move on then. So I've got some mushroom observer observations of boletes, and I'm kind of wondering, if I just put like Boletalis or Boletaceae in, will that not come up on top? Cause mine always just say fungi, but I usually do, you know, a bit better than that. You know, sometimes I just don't want to put a species name on stuff, but then often it'll just say fungi, like I don't even know anything beyond that. And I was just curious, is it require a specific species for a name to get up on the top, or am I doing something wrong? And does anyone understand what I'm asking?
On this mushroom observer?
Yeah. Yeah, like, so someone's already given this this species name, but when I posted it, I put Boletaceae, and instead of saying that, where it says Lanmaoa pseudosensibilis, it'll just say fungi.
That sounds like a malfunction on Mushroom Observer. If you put in Boletaceae, and you you know what? You have to propose a level of confidence, I think, or it might not.
That's what I was gonna say. You gotta.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I will always do that. I noticed that I didn't do that on a couple. So okay, that's it. Good. Thanks so much.
But the cool thing about MO as opposed to INET is, you know, you don't have to just say Boletaceae. You know, you can pick a name that you want to call this thing, like, and say it could be, right? I'm not confident that it's that.
Yes,
you know, that's my best bet.
Right. I didn't even have time for like a best bet today, so I just that's, otherwise, yes. I mean, that's the idea, because you want to try to figure it out yourself, you know. But I lacked the time for that. But thank you. I that's encouraging and inspiring.
And
so
one more.
I think this is correct, by the way.
Yeah.
Igor, what do you think? I think it's correct. Lanmaoa pseudosensibilis.
Yeah, I think he ID'd it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, but maybe we can talk a little bit about the, there's a couple more pictures too, where you can see, I'm hoping you can, see the other photos of it. But maybe not, and maybe that's my bad in the way I'm putting these, sharing these. I think you just have to go back to the tab that says mushroom observer observation, no? Just go to the tab before it.
Ah,
Oh, okay, and then the arrows on the right or left, far right.
there was only 2 in this.
Oh, okay, this is it, right? So this is it. It looks almost exactly the same, but you can see the stipe and the staining. So yeah, and these are really good size and really pretty yellow pores. And then kind of slow to stain and but yeah, and not much scent to be noted. I don't know, Igor, do you have any information about the scent or any other defining characteristics of this one?
The scent, it could be non-existent, but I collected the species, and I know it's the species because it was sequenced. The odor was just absolutely disgusting, like a spoiled cheese and fish. Very
Oh,
stinky. But the fruit bodies were not hypomicized or anything like that, but they had this just disgusting odor. But other collections of this, presumably the species, that just didn't smell like much. Maybe like a faint fungal odor. That's about it.
yeah, there was nothing to speak of on this. It was super fresh. So, and then so the stripes are smooth completely, correct?
Yeah, the stipes are smooth. Now the bluing, and this is very important. The bluing will happen, but then it will be almost like very quickly, within a few minutes, maybe even quicker, start changing to reddish brown,
Okay.
and that's on the flesh. I'm referring to the flesh, and the pores will do the same thing, but the pores do the same thing in other species. So this is not characteristic of anything, but the changeover from the blue over to the reddish brown in the flesh, okay, the context, that's
Yeah,
exclusively typical for the species.
flesh of the stripe
And the
and
cap, yeah.
okay,
Can
cool.
we stay on, can we stay on this photo real quick? Because I assume that bluing there it was an immediate bluing.
Yeah, and it was not purposeful even,
Right. Just you handle, just
just
you handling the thing, right?
exactly.
Which is darker already than Barangio kind of would ever get. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Or did,
it's kind of like I don't know about darker, but it's like a steely gray blue, It's like,
see, that's a Beringia thing, and I ask because that's the color I see with Beringia, as well as the way that the pore surface kind of has that smooth transition to the apex of the stipe.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that the staining on the cut context is the thing that's really a lot different than Beringia.
Can we look at that one more time, please?
Yeah,
Which
there's no question this is not Beringia by color. The cap colors are off, and it doesn't blue that much.
yeah,
Beringia by
no,
color
I wasn't.
typically does
More
not blue
brown.
in the flesh at all.
Yeah, I wasn't making the case. I was just trying to, for my own edification, just trying to reiterate these things to myself. So yeah, the bluing in the flesh that'll eventually go red, right? Pink.
Yeah, that will fade to reddish brown, but the bluing is prominent. In unlike in bicolor, which doesn't blue at all.
Yeah, my bicolor might blue a little bit, but not like you see here, where
It could be
with
just
like
isolated
there's that
spots.
solid blue sort of half moon.
Yeah, the bluing in bicolor could be very spotty, if anything at all. Very
Right.
like blotches here and there in the stipe, closer to the skin of the stipe. And the bluing in the cap could be just limited, above the tubes, because the tubes blue, and when you slice the mushroom, the pigment could be or the chemicals could be transferred over, into the.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. But the stem of bicolor can bruise rather dark. I mean, sometimes almost black, and sometimes I see that on the cap also.
Where?
On bicolor.
Outside?
On the outside, yeah. Nothing like that.
On the outside, it does blue when you touch it.
Yeah.
But the flesh itself, yeah, doesn't stay in the context.
Yeah, you would never see this solid blue, like crescent moon shape. That's almost all the context in the cap.
Nice.
Being prominently blue. You would not see that on bicolor.
No.
Interesting. This is so helpful. Thank you.
Oh, does it supposed to smell for the pseudosensibilis?
We just covered that. The smell can be almost none, or sometimes it can be very stinky and unpleasant.
Oh.
And I haven't figured out why, it smells like that. Because everything that I've collected before was fresh.
So this is Imleria pallida. I had it right actually, but I didn't put it on. And it used to be a different genus, yes? Or no?
What was the question again?
Was this a different genus before Imleria?
Oh, it wasn't Boletus. It was called
Okay.
Boletus pallidus.
Is there another pallidus in the world of boletes? Another pallidus species?
Well, there's Pallidorosia, but pallidus or pallida, I don't think so.
Okay, good. Glad to know that. This is edible, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's good, right?
Yeah, I think occasionally it could be bitterish, maybe. That's what I heard from other people, but yeah, I mean, if they're not buggy, they're quite good. If they're mild tasting.
In my experience, these are pretty good.
Yeah, I think everything in the Imleria, which is basically in the Boletoidae, which is a sister genus to Boletus, everything in there is quite good.
Good. Okay, good to know.
And when they're young, before the pores start to go a little bit yellowish or greenish, like you see here, and the bruise is like a slate gray blue kind of.
Oh, so this is already kind of mature?
Yeah, this one's mature. It'll probably drop spores. But when the gills or when the pores are very tight and hardly open, and the pore surface is just, looking almost smooth, and it's kind of beige colored, you won't get the bluish bruise. Instead, when you scratch it, it'll just darken to like a dark tan sort of.
Okay, and that's when you want to eat them like that.
Well, yeah, that's probably when they're best, I suppose, because they're really the flesh is all really tight and they're compact in that stage.
Yeah, and the stipes are pretty characteristic. I mean, they're kind of long and right. I mean, and twisted. I mean, that's pretty standard.
Oh, maybe not.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but the stipes are usually white.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. We can move on. Thanks.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, this is weird. So this is from a few weeks back when I was in Wisconsin near Wausau, and I just wanted to put another pick up. So it's a hypomyces attacking the rusula, I'm thinking. And it's so weird. So I guess it is like a variation of the Lactifluus that makes the lobster mushrooms, but I'm not positive. Pretty weird.
So if there's a hypomyces infecting this. You could probably see it on the gills.
Yeah, you can't too much, can you?
Yeah, I'm not convinced. They look a little bit thick and wavy, and like something's infecting them.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, and
Yeah.
Yes.
So at the
It might be a
Mont
combo.
Alto Eastern Penn Mushroomers foray, I found something that I identified as Hypomyces torminosus. Michael Quebec says it only grows on the bearded Lactarius species, but what I found it on, it didn't look like a bearded Lactarius, and it was in a habitat that I wouldn't expect too many of those. They usually like woods that are really mostly birch. But I got spores, and the spores were a perfect match for for Hypomyces torminosus. And it looked a little like this, but in a more advanced stage, if in fact there is a Hypomyces here, but which it looks like there might be.
so when you get spores for Hypomyces, you just laid it on the side.
I actually just scraped a piece off and smashed it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't see any. If there are any Lactarius or Lactifluus spores in there, I don't remember seeing any because the Hypomyces spores were big and sort of showy, and they dominated what I saw, through
So
the
you could
microscope.
see spores of both the Hypomyces and
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't remember seeing Lactarius spores.
Okay.
But Lactarius spores, really, you need to mount them in melters to really have them show up really well.
But you knew what it was, so you didn't.
Well, I didn't know what it was at first. I knew it was some sort of Hypomyces because I showed it last week, actually, I believe, on Taxonomy Tuesday. The undersides of the gills were very much deformed and flattened out and covered, with this like plastic looking coating, which was the Hypomyces. So I knew there was some sort of Hypomyces. It's just that was the first time I identified that species.
Right, but I mean, you were able to tell it was the Lactarius that you thought it was.
Oh no, I don't know if it was Lactarius torminosus, but it turned out to be Hypomyces torminosus, which is named after Lactarius torminosus because that's what it's usually found on.
Right.
But I think that in this case it was growing possibly on some other species of Lactarius.
Okay. Interesting. Well,
it was interesting.
Yeah, and it excites me to be able to see spores of a Hypomyces that I never imagined that possible. So that's on my bucket list.
Now you might be able to just lie down a Hypomyces on a slide and get some spores to drop, but this was at a big weekend foray. There was a lot to do. There were mushrooms all over the place to look at, and so in order to just speed things up a little bit, I just hacked off a piece and smashed it.
Cool.
And but that worked. I found what I needed to find.
Great. Okay. That's cool. Well, yeah, all right. We can move on. Thank you. Okay, yep, and I'm pretty sure it's another Amanita elliptosperma. I did try to do I did a little microscopy, but I tried to do a Roman aqueduct, and that was okay. I was really hoping to see the spores on the basidia and 2 or 4, and I never saw 2 or 4, maybe like 1 or something. Maybe.
Now Igor could probably back me up on this, or maybe tell me that I'm wrong. I think that when you put KOH on elliptosperma on the cap, it doesn't turn yellow, or if it does, it's very, very slight.
I can't remember if it's that species in particular, but some destroying angels poisonous destroying angels are not staining KOH at all, or maybe just very faintly. But I cannot confirm that. It has to be this
Okay,
one.
yeah, I forget if it's this one, but I'm going to check because I think it is.
I think it is too, because I tried it last time and it did not stain yellow, but I think my KOH is really expired. It's old. It's so old, so that may be the problem. But the spores were elliptoid again, because when I did the aqueduct, I could see some spores and they were ellipsoid, not globose. So I think that's what it is. And I looked at some of the veil under the microscope too, and that was interesting. Is that something that people do? Is there any important information on the veil itself and or no?
I think on amanitaceae.org, there's usually information about microscopic features associated with the veil, the partial veil, or
Oh,
the
cool.
cap. And there's all sorts of information on there. A lot of things that I typically don't do.
Oh, good. Thank you. I will look deeper into that because, yeah, I'm very interested and I do find a good amount. So cool. Okay. Yeah, and something, I'm sure most people know this here, but the smaller one, the big one was, I knew if I like put it in a paper bag, it would break, and I didn't really have I had a little tackle box thing, but not with a compartment big enough for the big one. So I took the little one, and most of you, I'm sure, know this, but maybe not everyone. I put just a little tiny bit of water in the bottom of a cup and put the little one in it. And by the next morning, it looked like the big one. It completely opened up, and I was able to do a spore print, and also I had a new veil to, it was like I had the big one. So they will grow if you keep them upright and maybe not too cold.
I didn't know that. That's good to know.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It is true too, for sure. All right.
Is it just the Amanitas?
As far as I know, I mean, I bet it's not exclusively Amanitas, but I don't think it's every mushroom. I've only known that Amanitas can do this. I think either Britt Barnyard or Jay had said it.
You can do it with the Stropharia as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet there's more too.
And I've even dug up eggs for stinkhorns, and
oh, me too.
Yeah, you can stick them in something moist and they'll keep growing.
Yeah, that's fun.
Nice.
Yeah, cool. Okay, thanks for letting me share, everyone.
Thanks for sharing.
My pleasure.
I've got a link to put amanitaceae.org page for Amanita elliptosperma group is what it's called, showed up. And so I'll put the link in the chat. Maybe it'll show up for you also. But it says that none in the group are known to turn yellow in KOH. So it's a non-reacting with KOH group.
Okay, and reacting doesn't really have any real meaning beyond identification purposes, correct?
Right. Yeah. It doesn't say anything about the toxicity or anything like that.
Okay.
It's just a means of identifying, getting one step closer to identifying to a species or a species group.
Thank you.
Looks like, did you just put that in there, Bruce? Oh no, that was the spore shot from before. Does anybody want to share from theirs, or do you want to go, Brandon?
Yeah, I could go.
What do you got here?
Oh yeah, I forgot what I sent in actually. Uh, I'm probably wrong on this name. Inonotus quercustris. Is that it? Quercustris. It's not a great observation. It was growing pretty high up on the tree. I got lucky that it was at the base of this ridge. So that first shot of the cap, I had to take that above my head on my tippy toes, just kind of taking blind shots. Um, but you can see it's got a little bit of a tomentose thing going on. So it absolutely could be Inonotus hispidus, just a really mature one. Um, but when I was reading about this species, it's a southern species, and it really likes swampy locations, which is where I found this. And it really likes red oak, specifically water oak and willow oak. And this was, I think that's a willow
This is
oak,
the
right?
willow oak.
Yeah. So it certainly could be Inonotus hispidus. But I put this name on it because it doesn't quite look, I mean, it doesn't look like what I'm used to for hispidus. Um, and it checks a lot of boxes for this quercustris. So does anyone have any familiarity with this thing?
I think I might have found that down in Texas. And it was more yellow and more fresh, but yeah, I mean, it's a oak species, southern, like you said, and it could be. Mine wasn't as flat, but it was fresher. It probably would have flattened out. It's interesting.
Yeah, and like I said, southern species. Texas was like one of the main places that it was described. Well, actually, there were some observations in Texas, but it was more of uh, like a Tennessee, Georgia, working its way up north type of thing. But again, I don't really have any familiarity with this species. I wasn't able to collect any because I couldn't reach it. Didn't have a ladder with me. Uh, but yeah, I thought it was cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. I like it. It's neat.
We need someone that is interested in polypores to be present here again. We miss Luke dearly on these polypore discussions.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, maybe next year, see if those aren't perennial, are they? Or
I'm not sure, but I will say the place that I found this is like one of my spots. I'm there once a week. I walk by that tree. I've walked by that tree 50 times and never noticed it before. And for it to be that old, um,
huh,
maybe I'd never just looked up that high on that tree before, but yeah, I don't think they're perennial. Getting at
right.
that.
So hopefully it'll come back and or come back lower, lower down.
Oh, that was the other thing. One of the descriptions said it likes growing high up on the tree. Um,
Yeah,
so
one I wasn't able to harvest the one I found either, but I just had pictures. I can try to fetch my picture, but move on and that's cool.
all right, and then here's another name. I actually don't think it's this. I have the name that I think it is in the chat. Peki die something, but it's certainly a Cribaria. Yeah, what is it? Pachydiction. That's what I wanted to. Yeah, that's what I wanted to call it, but that name wasn't available on iNet. But it was between microcarpa and that thing, so I just called it the microcarpa. And the thing you're going to want to zoom in on maybe the second photo.
That's yeah, this is the second one.
All right, can you zoom in? Just click on the photo.
That's all zoomed in there.
Cool.
Oh, I think I'm frozen.
Oh,
Can you change photos? Because I'm just seeing the first photo still.
there's a third photo.
Oh,
Yeah,
weird.
they're changing for me.
Okay, that's really weird. I'm still seeing the first photo. And I just got a message, Zoom isn't responding. Do I want to wait or do I want to close the app? Ah, there we go. Okay, great. Now I can see this one. Can you see the nodes on the one with the spores in it? Like those black dots?
Yeah.
And then if we go back to one of the ones that you were probably just showing that I couldn't see with the, yeah, that shows it pretty well. I think the other ones show it a little bit better.
Is it just this one's like empty?
Yep. So if we could go to a different photo. Sorry, I missed your starting out with the first one and then moving on.
What do we got? Oh,
Okay, there we go. Zooming on that empty one. Yeah, so now you can see the nodes pretty well, even with the spores ejected, and that's pretty good for one of these two species. There's also not peridial lines, so there's not like this peridium that has striations going from apex to apex, which would be a cancellata thing. So this is not Cribaria cancellata. It's almost certainly one of the two species that I put in the notes there. But yeah, don't have much else to say about it.
how big is this little piece of wood here?
Probably 2 inches. Yeah, so each one of these fruiting bodies is 2 millimeters, most likely, at
That's pretty
max.
big.
Yeah. I mean, you can see them. You can see them with the naked eye. And another thing that I used to put a name to this was the color of the spore mass. Just picking these things off of the substrate there, there was a cloud of yellow, ochre yellow, pale yellow. I don't know what the difference between ochre and pale yellow is, but it was very much yellow and not brown or purple, which some of the other species in this genus have. All right, cool. Let's go to the next one. Oh yeah, this one was a first for me. I've never found this thing before, and I'm wondering if anyone knows if I should be considering anything other than this species. What is it? The dog nose fungus.
Is it, it's just growing on moss on a log? I mean, it's on a log, right?
Yeah, it's on a log.
Yeah, it looks like it to me, that giveaway, right?
I think so, but I've never found this thing before, so I haven't really done the research. And like, is there anything else this possibly could be?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. Yeah, there's a young one. Pretty
That's
cool. Hasn't
neat.
opened up.
Well, the outside looks very smooth. Is that accurate?
Yeah, yeah. Wait, the outside, like that
Like the
peridium kind of
skin.
thing? Yeah, the skin. Yeah, for sure. Smooth. And that young one, as well as the mature ones, but once they kind of break open that peridium, there's a bit of marginality to it, but it breaks away. And this one's big.
Good size.
Yeah. That was the other thing. When I thought dog's nose fungus, I thought they were all maybe, an inch max. This one was 2-3 inches.
It's a big dog.
Right. But yeah, I think I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I did get spores out of this thing. It dumped kind of gray black spores, which you can see on my finger from just touching it.
Is that wet or not?
No, it's just shiny.
That is
Yeah,
weird.
yeah, it's just really shiny. That zoom in particular does look like a dog's nose for sure. And that's that big one in situ.
And this is just all the peeled away, all up here.
That's another fruiting body. I think when I went to cut it, I kind of tipped it over, like inverted it a little bit. So I think you're seeing the underside a little bit.
I think it's cool.
Yeah, never
Did you
found
say
it
you got
before.
I'm sorry. Did you say you got spores from this, or?
I did. Yeah, I haven't done anything with them yet, but they were a really cool grayish color, not quite black. They
Right.
they had an interesting color. It's probably the color that I would see from a lot of ascomycetes that I collect if they were this big and dumped spores.
Yeah.
But you know,
Cool. Well, looking forward to see what that's gonna be.
and then I shared this one at the end of last week's session. Well, not this. I found it again. I shared this species at the end of last week's session, but this was really cool. I mean, I found hundreds of these things. So the macro probably has a mixed collection, but the one my finger is pointed at, yeah, there you go. A little bit of a two-headed monster going on, which I had never seen before for this species.
That's so cool.
Yeah, found a couple of them like that too. Yeah, there's just a bunch of them. Yeah, there's another one with a two-headed. That's a different specimen than the last one. But then I did all the micro, and it's Sphagnicola or whatever, Sphagnophilum. It's either Sphagnophilum or Glabrum, which are very, very difficult to distinguish between. But both species are way more common than are actually reported. This is in the past 4 weeks, I've found this 5 or 6 times at different locations, 5 or 6 different locations. So, I mean, it's present way more than is actually reported, in my opinion. And
it's the 7 sept.
Yep. It's the 7 septate. The spore range is anywhere from 85 to 100 microns, which falls right in line. And then these subglobose, I mean, some of them really just barely subglobose. Paraphyses end with these really short segments. That is why I chose sphagnophilum over glabrum. But both species have highly variable paraphyses that can look pretty much the same. But I like the name Sphagnophila better, so that's the one I've been going with.
I love this shot. You know, I don't know if you ever owned a lizard that you had to feed mealworms to, but that's the vibe I'm getting.
I have not, but yeah, I get the mealworm vibe from the spores for sure. And yeah, consistently 7. It's not like. Actually, did I include one immature spore shot? Go back to the last shot if you can, because I meant to include that. Nah, I didn't. Because when you do a smash mount of these things, I measure the spores and do a lot of the spore, information off of a spore drop. But then when you're looking at the paraphyses and measuring the asi, you do that off of a smash mount, and you inevitably get immature spores in that smash mount. And those immature spores you can clearly see are like, they're 3 septate. There's 3 segmentations there, but they're growing, right? So like there's like an immature septation that you can see, which is why you need to kind of take those measurements with mature spores from a drop and not immature spores. But anyway, I show all that just to show the 2-headed one, which I had never seen before, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that definitely is.
Brandon, did you find anything in the literature on the two-headedness? Is that common? Is that a rarity or?
Well, I just kind of put in a comment there, like, is this just an oddity? And I was hoping Malcolm would hop in there. I can't access his key anymore. It was working a week ago for me, and now I'm getting an error 404 message when I go to his key.
Maybe he's working on it or something.
Yeah. So I haven't found anything about that. I haven't seen any observations of the split head type of thing.
But you found multiples that way.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah.
3. I think I found 3 in total, and there were hundreds of these things in this location, which is also abnormal. Normally, when I find whatever sphagnophilum or glabrum, whatever you want to call it, you find 5 or 6 scattered about, and these things were just everywhere.
Nice.
The ones that I showed the last week or the week before, there was hundreds of them everywhere.
Yep.
Maybe it was just the weather.
You were mentioning Malcolm before. Who's Malcolm?
So Malcolm Greaves is a doctor over in the UK who specializes. He wrote the key. He wrote the key for Geoglossum as well as Scutelinea. So as far as people that I've connected with, I consider him my foremost authority.
I see. Okay, and apparently maybe Trichoglossum as well, perhaps, because he chimed in on one of my observations recently, and helped me out with an ID on a Trichoglossum.
Yeah. So yes, Geoglossacea, I should say, is his area of expertise. So he knows Geoglossum, he knows Trichoglossum, Glutinoglossum, Microglossum, everything in that Geoglossum family.
All the glossums. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. As well as a couple other things that don't have the glossum epithet.
I see. Okay. All right. Very good.
But as far as for this thing, Trichoglossum is out of the question because it doesn't have the setae, the hairs on the head of the cap.
I see. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate you guys.
Does anybody have anything they'd like to share, or should we see what Dave's got?
I could go with a couple of quick ones.
Go for it.
All right, thank you. Share this one here. Okay, I guess I double click. There it is. Okay. All right, I don't know what that's doing. Okay. Well, might as well look at that Trichoglossum that I found. Trichoglossum. This I found on a walk. This was a walk with the Washington, D.C. Mushroom Club, and this is my only. Let me zoom in on my. Whoops. My only in situ picture there, just growing right on the side of the trail, and we had kind of, and then when I got home, I actually kind of got it into a brighter light and got a little bit of a close up of one side of the of one of these, which I sort of carried around in my pocket, and finally got to photograph later on, and the other side for what that's worth there. I actually put it on a slide and let it sit for about a day and a half, and it dropped maybe, probably less than 10 spores, but I did find them. They're very long spores. They're these, so 100, I measured this one 124 microns long, this one here. And apparently they're all with the seven septa. And I was pretty, with the spores so big, I was able to locate them, by turning down to my 10 power objective and sort of scanning the slide a little more easily. They were still showing up pretty well. So this is, I guess, what you're referring to with the setae, right? The hairs there, Brandon.
Can we zoom in a little bit? Yep. Yeah, those dark pointed structures.
Yeah.
Yep, those are setae.
So this is all sort of a debris field, I guess. Me smashing this under the cover slip here, so things are out of place, and only then did it sort of even occur to me to think about that. Obviously, it's an ascomycete when you see all these spores clustered together there in their ascus there. And I've got a close up, a better one here. So what am I looking at? Obviously, I've got an ascus there with some spores. There's the setae. The rest of these, is this paraphyses?
Yep. Yeah, the squiggly things in the lower left.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Those are paraphyses, and honestly, Malcolm's key is incredibly useful. You can plug in all the information on all these things, and you do have to have measurements and accurate information to plug in. Right. But the shape of the end of those paraphyses, which we can see here, are curved, curled, kind of cane shaped.
I see.
Yeah. We saw 7 septations previously on that the other spores. These ones look a little well, are there 7 interior too? 1, 2, 3,
Well,
4,
yeah.
5, 6. Yeah, so that's
one,
a good example of an immature spore, still in the ascus, that will probably develop a 7th septation and then eject itself.
That's interesting. Yeah, let me go to this next picture, because this one I think is these are in the process of becoming septate, right? These.
Yep. Those have almost no septations on the one on the left. It's just these kind of gutules. The one in the middle is kind of developing them, but yeah, that's a classic immature spore.
I see. Okay. Are there 8 spores in there?
So we would need to see a more packed one.
Yeah, I didn't get any great, anything, that good. I should have done a few more. But
I would
okay.
say, I would say, yeah. The one on the bottom there. If you can make out five, if there's more than four,
Four.
there's
Uh-huh.
eight. You know
There's
what I
eight.
mean?
Okay. I see. Okay.
One on the far right, I can count 8. It looks to me on the far right. Yeah, right there. Seems like it.
It could be. Yeah, I get a little confused with what I'm seeing there. So, but
Yeah, I see four there. But
yeah.
you're also looking at the top half of a crushed
Yes.
ascus. So the bottom half of that ascus is missing.
Right. Yeah,
And
it's a real
spores could have spilled out from the bottom there.
sure. Yeah, there's some loose. Yeah. Oops. I go this way. Well, okay, that's all very interesting and informative. Like I say, this Malcolm Greaves, he chimed in on this one. And he said, based on the measurements and the number of septa, he thought it was pretty good guess for that. So okay.
What was the name? What was the name? Just
Oh, I'm sorry.
Trichoglossum,
Yeah,
or
I
you
don't
put
think I ever did
species
that,
to it?
did I? It's
Yeah.
octopartitum.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Nice.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry about
So,
that. I should have given that first.
so that's in reference to the 8 segments. 8 segments which have 7 septations, right? Because each either end has 1, so that's 2, and then if you follow that, there's 7 segments, but there's 7 septate, but there's 8 parts to that.
Right, making 8 compartments, I guess, so to speak. Yes, exactly. Okay.
As well as the very unique, fan-shaped fruit bodies. Because that's another thing. That's another thing you want to look at with these things is what does that head look like? Is it spoon-shaped? These ones are spoon-shaped. These ones can't be called anything other than spoon-shaped.
I see. Yeah, I see. Okay.
Are they all individuals, or were they sort of?
I believe so. Yeah. I didn't, I don't know whether there was whether they were maybe connected to some degree there at the bottom or, I think there was maybe, but afraid I didn't get down there and really examine it. We were kind of on the move.
Could we please look at your excellent microscopy again, because I think I'm missing something and I want to get clear. And I know we've talked about it before, but I'm forgetting. Can we go to this one or the next one? So I'm really confused because I was seeing 8 spores on the far right, and now I'm thinking I'm not seeing spores at all. I'm looking at something other than spores, because then Brandon's like he saw 4 when I see 8. So what am I getting wrong? Obviously something.
Actually, I'll say I think I see 5 in that one, which does mean it probably is 8 spored. But I think what you're looking at, Hunter, are you looking at those bubbles within the longer spore?
Yeah, so that's 1 spore. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, and it will eventually look like the ones on the far left that have the divisions that are just lines.
Yeah, I mean, you can still kind of see the gutules in the ones on the left there.
Okay, thank you. And so, but then, okay, so those are huge they look like huge spores with these gutules, multiple gutules, and then they have these strong divisions, and then they're called septate when they have that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Septate. So they're referred to as 7 septate, which means there's 7 of those septa.
Okay.
The dark lines.
The septa are the dark lines, basically.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I know we've reviewed this before, but
No, great. This is good.
I want everyone to pay more attention to these things. So
Right, I know, and I want to, and so, yeah, good. And I mean, the ascomycete microscopy to me is just so much more interesting than the
I
vestigia
agree.
so
Yeah,
far.
I
It's
think
I
so
agree.
too.
fun.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, really fun.
Well,
Let
and
me.
that's good work. That's good micro. That's a cool find.
Well, thank. Yeah,
Octoseptentrum or whatever it is,
octopartitum.
or octopartitum. Yeah. Um,
Octopartitum.
yeah.
Yes. Well,
Can you
yeah, it
go
was
to
good.
the
Nice.
Can you go to the map for that or the observations? I don't think that's found here very often.
Yeah, I think Maricel has an observation maybe in New Jersey, but I don't think there's much other than that yeah, I did
Yeah.
look at that. So, and I think a few of
Cool.
them didn't have any micro and, well, anyway,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not very, not very,
That's how these things go. Every time I find one of these things, it's either Maricel found one first or Tom Bigelow made his way around here and found one.
I see. Let me just do maybe one more real quick because I've been finding this one a lot. And I'm not sure I've seen anybody else putting it on here, but this is the parasitic bolete, which grows on the Scleroderma citrinum earth ball. And I had quite a run of these. I don't know. I keep finding all the earth balls, and so I'm taking a close look at them all, and I found 8 of these so far over about a 2 or 3 week period here. And they basically they sort of emanate from the side of the earth ball, kind of where the earth ball, where it attaches to its substrate. This bolete sort of makes its way up the side, sort of curving around the side, external to the earth ball there, and ultimately sort of sits up above it. But I found them in all sorts of phases there, from very small to much larger here. So I think this is actually a bolete that I think I can identify for sure. So
That's a shot right there.
yeah, this is right, a little cross section. I've seen some where it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of infiltration really into the earth ball. You see some maybe coming on there, but they're really, rather separate. Quite often when I find one of these, the bolete it detaches so easily. But I understand it's edible also, the bolete. But let me just show you one more real quick, and just to show you a different cross section of an interesting one that where is it? This one here, this little one here.
Did anyone confirm that for you? Yeah, that's what that is, right?
The ID?
Yeah.
I don't. Is there any other alternative for the parasitic Pseudoboletus parasiticus?
Absolutely not.
Right. I meant even here tonight. Did anyone say, yeah, that's what that thing is?
Well, that's what this thing is. I think I said before at Taxonomy Tuesdays, maybe on more than one occasion, that it used to be a joke played on some old mycologist. Somebody would separate the bolete from the host, and like, what is this thing? And everybody would be like running around, scratching their heads, because everybody's used to this bolete attached to the scleroderma that nobody pays attention to the morphology. And then once you separate the two, what is this? But yeah, here it's attached, so we know what it is, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's a very primitive, dinosaur bolete parasitic. That's what they used to be back in the day, when Earth was young.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah. So I take it nobody else has been seeing these.
Oh yeah, we saw plenty of these at the Pennsylvania foray.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was wondering whether. Okay.
Yeah,
typically it's a
almost
rare
every
sight.
foray. Almost every
Okay.
foray we're finding
Yeah, I
them.
mean, we see
Uh,
maybe like, a couple of times a year, maybe more often in certain years, but it's not a common find.
Okay. All right. Well, let me hand off here. What do I do? I'm stopping my share. Share.
Nice, Paul. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks.
Does anybody else want to share from their computer? Otherwise, we could go and
You
see
have,
Dave's stuff. Oh, you got one, Lila?
and go ahead. I was wondering if you had anything.
I have nothing ready here.
All right, well, let's see what Dave's got then.
Is Dave here?
We lost Dave. Did we lose Dave?
I think he disappeared.
No,
Oh,
no,
there he is.
he's on.
Oh, sorry.
There you are.
Oh, okay. It's my bolete. Right. Yeah. This was found at some of this went out to a place called Seven Tubs. This was in an area with mostly hemlock and birch. And when I first saw it, I just sort of dismissed it as an old subvellereus. But when I got home and looked at it, it's not subvellereus. It's something else. It's got a really densely scaly stem, red pore surface like you see on some of the Neoboletus. And when I cut through it, it did not stain at all. The flesh was sort of white inside and was like that and just stayed like that. So I don't know what species this could be. I preserved it. So I have a good sample of it.
Yeah,
The spores were also very big. There was a wide range in the lengths and widths of the spores. I think like 15 to 22 by 5.5 to 7.5.
well, that spore measurement is consistent with subvellereus, except that the presentation of the ornamentation in this type is not consistent with subvellereus. All these squameules, or scabers as you call them, because these are
Yep.
squameules after all.
22 microns is pretty big, though.
Yeah, this is more consistent. The stipedal ornamentation is more consistent with either vermiculosoides or Bruniosquameulosus, or maybe even the chameleon. Yeah, I don't know. 22
Yeah,
is really pushing it. I mean, I think no Neoboletus is that high, but if it were like 18, maybe 20, that's a subvellereus. Where did you find this?
subvellereus. When I see it's usually maybe up to 18 is what I found.
So this is hemlock dominated woods.
Yeah, birch, oak present. It's sort
Yeah.
of mixed woods, but there were a lot of hemlock in that area.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, subvellereus is very common in your area, whereas all the other Neoboletus are not. I'm not saying this is subvellereus, but
I guess it could be. I mean, it doesn't look like it to me.
yeah, it
And
doesn't look to me either. But this is also so beaten up. I mean, like I said, the only thing that sort of contrasts the morphology of subvellereus is this type. Okay, it doesn't have enough red in it, and it has these squameules.
Yeah,
which subvellereus doesn't prominently showcase.
yeah, and it didn't stain when I cut it.
Well, this is probably
It might
because
be because it's old.
it's
I
so
don't
old.
know. But usually when I find subvellereus, even old ones,
Yeah, can we
generally
zoom in?
stain.
Can we zoom in into some of these pictures, like the one before? I want to see this type again because this one is red.
Yeah, the one side was red. The one side was red, the other side was yellow.
Yeah. This is very red.
Yeah, it's got some mold growing on the base also.
Yeah, I would say this is, I don't know if there's any hairs at the bottom of the stipe, the fuzz that we
Right.
see this in the subvellereus group, but I think this is in the subvellereus group. I think it's either the chameleon or it's or subvellereus.
Okay.
That would be my best guess.
Yeah, I basically have no guess for this. I had labeled the photo Neoboletus, but then I thought about the lack of staining, and but it might just be because it's old. Maybe also because it's being attacked by some sort of mold that may have changed the chemistry of it.
I don't think it's moldy. I just think it's just old and desiccated and not reactive to oxygen.
Okay, thanks. By the way, that area, 7 tubs where it was found. Subvellereus is very common there.
Okay. And then
so this is an interesting little Amanita. When I first saw it, I thought it looked like one of these little Caesars, I thought. But I couldn't find any sign of a partial veil. Now, some of the little Caesars, the partial veil is kind of flimsy and it can fall off. But also the very sort of long basal vulva is sort of not consistent with either of the two little Caesar species that are probably the most common, being virginiana and pachyperma. Those usually have small basal vulvas. So the spores on this are pretty much broadly ellipsoid and to ellipsoid, and up to about 13 microns. We'll see those in a minute, but that's a pretty well-developed basal vulva. It was mostly buried. I mean, maybe this is a rooseveltensis. It doesn't really look like it to me, but I suppose it could be.
That's what I thought when I saw it right away. It looks like rooseveltensis, but is it maybe the stipe to flocos?
Well, sometimes it's flocos on the stipe, but this one's really, a little bit more than usual, and the striations are really deep also. And you can see the spores here are pretty much ellipsoid, broadly ellipsoid. But the spores are not big enough for pachyperma or virginiana. Although if you look at the original description of virginiana, I think it was a Merle species, and he said the spores only went up to like 10 microns long. So this is all sort of interesting to me. This one was preserved. I preserve a lot of things, but this one I'll try to make sure it gets in, a chance to be sequenced. It was just the one mushroom growing on a bank, like a disturbed bank, along a wide, really an old grassy road. That's just a trail now. The difference in color on these spore shots is just different. I tried different settings on my camera, trying to get one that would focus a little better. But actually, all of them are, none of them are too bad, really. They're all fairly well focused. So, interesting little Amanita.
Yeah, I'm glad you shared that.
So, Polypocladium ophioglossoides. I'm not sure if you see this much in New Jersey because I usually find it under hemlock. It's a parasite that grows on Elaphomyces fruit bodies that are like these buried truffle-like things, and there's one right there. So this one was not very deep, and a lot of times the the deer truffle thing is completely decayed, so you don't see anything when you try to dig it up. But this one was still pretty well intact. This other one that's above it, we didn't find a deer truffle there, or if there was, it was basically just fell apart, as we tried to extract it out of the soil. So, and there's the Elaphomyces fruit badius section there. So I don't know what species of Elaphomyces this is. In the past, I think I've thought maybe some of them were Elaphomyces granulatus, I think is the one species, but I don't know. That's just a guess, really.
Cool.
They're pretty interesting. There were a lot of them.
The head and color, the color and shape of the quote unquote head, right? The fertile surface. Yeah. I mean, if it's on Elaphomyces shaped like this, I think it has to be Ophioglossoides, especially with the rhizomorphs that you can see on the one.
Oh yeah,
it's a bright yellow.
Ophioglossoides. That's what it is. That's what the parasite is. The cordyceps looking thing. That's
right.
Yeah, that's I didn't even get any spores or anything. I know what this is. It's pretty common actually. And they get darker. When they get older, they get darker.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not all that common here, like you said. But the ones that I found look so much different than this.
Oh.
But I've seen observations, proven observations with like DNA and stuff that also look like this. Interesting. Cool.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain, that's
yeah.
But they get darker. They get a lot darker when they get older. And sometimes the head's a little wider also.
Right. That's the other thing I was going to say. More, tongue-like, right?
Yeah.
Flat. But yeah,
Well, it might be a
cool.
species complex. Who knows? I don't know. I should preserve some of these.
It almost certainly is. I think so. I think for 100 years we've been using the same 5 names for Talipocladium in northeastern U.S., right?
Yeah, the genus has changed a few times, but I think the species names have remained the same.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were probably in cordyceps 100 years ago.
Not that long ago, they were cordyceps, and then there was something else. Ophiocordyceps, I think they were. Yeah, Ophio cordyceps.
Yeah, cool find. I love this one.
Yeah, they're pretty interesting to find. There were an awful lot of them. There were little patches of like 30 of them here and there.
And on something like this, I probably wouldn't do micro either, but you didn't do any, right?
No, I had other stuff to do, and
yeah,
I was behind on my micro because I was having my scopes serviced. They were taken into my old college where I used to work, and there's a person who comes in and cleans microscopes for them, and mine were put into the queue. So I had to wait for a few days to get my scopes back. And so I only scoped things that I thought, were really going to give me information that about the identity that,
something is on the back.
Need.
Something is on the back burner. Yeah.
Yeah. These I'm pretty sure what they are, so I didn't bother. But I probably, next time I find some, I'll have to bring some home and look at spores because they're probably pretty interesting. I forget. I'm sure that I have a long time ago.
Well, I mean, we should probably move on. I don't want to hang on. I can talk about these type of things all the time. But yeah, like Longus segmentatum and capitatum.
Oh yeah, those are really cool. Yeah,
really cool spores.
Yeah,
and I don't think I've ever scoped one of these either because, like you, it's like, oh, I know what that thing is. Yellow, purplish, reddish. Yeah.
Yeah, I always do capitatum / Longus segmentum because you don't know what that one is until you see the spores.
Yeah, I'm in that group as well. I agree with you. You have to scope those. Anytime someone puts a name to those without spore measurements, I think they're too. I don't think you can identify them macroscopically.
I don't think so. No, people say things like the one is shinier or darker or whatever. That I don't buy any
That's
of
such
that.
an environmental thing, right?
Yeah.
Or like the not the paraphyses. Yeah, I guess they are called paraphyses. Or more pronounced or less pronounced than one or the other. But yeah, I think it's all you got to do micro. Parathecia.
So it's not every day that I bring home a Lactarius and confidently put a species ID on it. Lactarius mushrooms to me are kind of confusing, but this one had a trait that really stands out. And we'll see it's coming up eventually here. When I saw this at first, I thought it was a weirdly shaped Russula compacta based on the color, like looks like it was spray painted brown sort of. But once I turned it over, I knew it wasn't compacta just from the way the gills looked. Now this photo here is taken a fair, I'm not sure how long. I can look at my photos and see the time signatures, but this was a while after I passed the knife across the gills looking for latex. And there was a little bit of latex. It was a scant white latex. But this is dark green. Okay, it didn't really come, the green didn't really come through in the photos, but it's very, very dark green. In firsthand, you can see the green. And that turns out to be a telling trait. So Lactarius, and it's also very, very acrid. So now there's a fresh scratch with the latex coming out. And that was a little more latex coming out of that scratch than the first time I ran the knife across it. So that's not quite scant. That's noticeable latex there. And so that one eventually also turned dark. So and very acrid tasting. So I didn't look at spore. I tried, it didn't drop any spores. I took a little piece and put it on a slide, but it didn't drop any spores. So I didn't bother to do anything else with it. But I'm pretty sure this identification is correct based on this, the appearance, the size, and the stain becoming dark green. The slice becoming dark green. So Lactarius affinis variety varidilactus, I guess is how you say it.
Cool. That's cool. I'd love it. I'd love if we if the club could bring a talk on Lactarius in some time.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
It might need to be a group effort.
Yeah, I'm wondering, I mean, John and Nina, I guess, would be.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They probably know the Lactarius, but mostly from Pine Barrens.
Yeah, which is, abnormal. I don't think they know stuff that you're finding in PA, at least. I don't. I know all my Lactarius from them, so.
I know Carrie McCabe. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her. She's giving some talks on Lactarius, but she's from the like South Central US. But I know there's someone else out east that does some talks on Lactarius. I think it's another woman, Gary Gilbert. I think that's his name. He mentioned her. I'll try to find it, but it would be cool for sure. And I really lack on those.
Yeah, I do too. I, I've I get into them from time to time, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's one of these 5 things.
Yeah, and there's a fair number of them that when they get even just a few days old, they look the same as one another. So
And
there's
there's
like Tacitus, Quietus. Then there's one that's usually zonate, but not always. What's that one? I forget. Anyway, yeah, we should move on.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Yeah,
That's all right.
is this a brown sport thing or a white sport thing? What's this? Brown sport, huh?
This thing here, it's
Yeah.
Inonotus hystrix. I'm
Ooh.
pretty sure the morphology is pretty distinctive. I mean, the one thing you might confuse this with is Malosibe unicolor, which also tends to be kind of scaly on the cap. Not quite this scaly though. But Malosibe unicolor has no pleurocystidia. It just has like the palisade of chylоcystidia that look like balloons, and
Wow.
these guys had not a whole. I didn't find a whole lot of cystidia, but I found a few, and I found one that really looks like a metuloid. So you wouldn't find that on a Malosibe. So I'm pretty sure I got this. Inonotus hystrix. It's not an uncommon species, but I don't think I've ID'd it in the past, and maybe I should look through all my old Inonotus photos. Maybe it's in there somewhere, and I just never ID'd it. So it's small, the sort of a prototypical LBM, right?
Yeah. Can we zoom in? Can we zoom in on one of the stipes? It's got that really, streaked right from the
Yeah, it
apex.
should be. It usually this species has a scalier stipe, so that was the one thing that kind of had me wondering a little bit. The stipe wasn't that scaly, but I couldn't find anything else that had a cap as scaly as these in Inonotus. And the macro fits also. It's got the big ellipsoid spores that some of them are maybe a little bit asymmetric. And the I did find what are likely pleurocystidia, at least a few. Once again, I was in catch-up mode with my microscopy, so I didn't spend a lot of time. I smashed a little bit of gill, and that was pretty much it. And I was trying to move quickly through the rest of, because I had like a backlog of like 20 things to look at. So this, when you see these spores, you might think Malosibe, because a lot of Malosibe have spores that look like this. So it could be tricky. It could be tricky deciding between this Inonotus hystrix and Malosibe unicolor. But there's like this thing here that's a pleurocystidium. I'm pretty sure it's got like the encrusted apex. And it is shaped. This is shaped like what pleurocystidia are supposed to look like for Inonotus hystrix. There's a few others that are sticking out of the gills. So these, I'm not sure if they're pleurocystidia or chylоcystidia. Michael Quebec reports that both are present on the gills of this species. So I'm not sure what kind these are. Chances are they're all pleurocystidia. But actually, Michael Quebec says things like the chylоcystidia and the pleurocystidia are pretty. A lot of them are pretty similar. So it might be really that there's one kind of cystidia that's on the edge and the face, and then maybe a few additional like typical, more prototypical metuloid type things like that one. So once again, I've got this preserved. So
Yeah, I
It'll
think
be worth
that
trying to get it sequenced.
that's cool. I've never seen that one, but yeah, that's it, right? Um, was was the micro in any kind of stain, or was that just water?
I think I just did these in like 3% KOH.
Okay.
The gills. Oh, you know what? This might all be from a gill smash. I forget. I think the spores are from a drop. I'm pretty sure. And yeah, those are from a spore drop. So that's just in KOH probably.
Mm-hmm.
And because a lot of times pigmented spores I'll put in KOH because sometimes KOH will change the color a little bit, and sometimes that's a helpful feature. This is in a stain here. You can see this
Yeah.
cystidium is stained with Congo red.
Okay. Yeah. Congo red was. I was wondering why it was red, and that the toupee on that cystidium
Yeah.
the is kind of bluish, almost.
That might just be the setting I had my camera set to. I'm not sure. There was nothing bluish. It was just dark.
Yeah.
That toupee was just dark.
But yeah, cool find. Thanks for sharing that. It's
Yeah, that was a good one.
good one to learn.
Yeah, it's an anosebe that you might be able to identify just by the way it looks. Modulo checking a little bit of micro.
I think that was it.
That was, I guess that was 5. Yeah, that's 5. I'm counting 5. Thanks.
Thank you. Does anybody have any they'd like to share from their computer? What do we got in the chat?
Nothing in the chat. You got anything to share? Did Lila share her thing? She didn't, right?
No, but I could bring out my iNet. I did do something fun. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. I was so happy when I found this. I couldn't wait to bring it home. There was a couple dozen of them out there.
Ooh, is that
And I
do
said,
you have a name?
Something
I
purple.
didn't put one on there, right? I didn't really look into it, but it was in my head. I knew what it was and I knew what to do with it.
KOH?
I think that picture should be in here.
Is it Mycena? Is it that purple Mycena?
Nope. It's
No, it's that
Gymnopus
Gymnopus
iocephalus. Yeah, for sure. Cool.
I was giggling when I saw it because I knew I was gonna go home and do this.
Yep. That's it. Cool reaction, coolest reaction to KOH. I think it's
Oh, right. I see the KOH. Right. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was so happy. I was like,
Nice.
I was telling my wife like on the way out, oh man, I'm gonna put some stuff on this. It's gonna turn bright green.
yeah. Well, it's kind of bluish, really. If you find a fresh one, I think the fresh ones go more teal blue, which I love. But yeah, that green
Freshness
reaction.
matters, huh?
Yeah, I think if you put that on that specimen in situ, it would be more blue.
Interesting.
But that might be a product of it having more pigment or stronger pigment when it's fresh or something like that.
Put a name on it down on the bottom there right now.
Yeah, it's definitely Hyocephalus. Gymnopus hyocephalus.
Oh, you're not logged in.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh. I had, how do I get to more, I guess I would have to log in.
Yeah.
Oh, let me do that real quick.
And while he's doing that, when we talk about things that are gymnopus, that thing is kind of an outlier. It doesn't look typical of a gymnopus, in my opinion. The stipe doesn't have that translucent thing. The gills are a little bit more widely spaced. The cap flesh is much thinner, but it is currently housed in Gymnopus.
Yeah, there's a few others that are kind of similar. That one that's stinky. What is it?
Boetus,
Phoetidus, maybe.
Is that
I think-
Gymnopus foetus?
Yeah, I think that might be what it's called. That has a similar kind of look to it. And semi-Hardipes is not that far off from what this looks like. Of course, it's colored a lot differently.
Yeah, like this thing looks more like a Calibiopsis, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
That, this was from, Foray, which, I forget the name of that park. But I did
Hacklebarney?
Hacklebarney. That's it. I did, I was told they would kind of revive a little bit if I put them in a little water. Which you could see the damp paper towel here that I have it kind of snuggled around the bottom. And it did kind of open back up a little bit.
Yeah, they'll do that. And it did.
But it was it was such a cool red color. Even the young ones had the stipes were mostly the red color.
Mm-hmm.
But man, were they tiny. It was like it was that thing you look down and you're like, what's that thing I'm stepping on?
Yeah, easily missed except for the red, the pink to catch your eye, maybe.
I don't have if I was logged in on my phone, I have a couple of things that I found just recently. But they're not into iNet yet.
So do we feel good about this name? Would you call it Pulcherima? Or whatever it is, Marasmi is?
Pulchicherry Cherapis.
Okay. Yeah, I've never learned any of these species names because I've never felt good about applying any of them.
It was like the listing was like it was in a book that like a club, one of the club ID books. And it was like, and if it's red, it's this Pulcheripes. Like it wasn't even the main thing. It was like in the bottom of the notes, like all the way at the end.
Yeah, the red one is Pulcheripes and the orange one is Siccus. And I think they both can be found on a variety of different substrate. I have to check that.
Yeah, this was all just leaf litter.
Yeah, I found it in early July on a piece of oak bark. But that looks like oak leaves, so probably likes oak.
Really small though. I mean,
they're small.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like Siccus is, while it's small, it's still like an inch, 2 inches.
Yeah, they're pretty substantial.
Did you get an underside of the gills?
Yeah, almost like folds rather than gills. But there's not that many of them in there, and it's tiny.
Michael Quebec says deciduous litter, forest litter, pine needles. So it grows on a lot of different things. Because I think I found it on our property in pine needle duff.
What's it say about fruit body size? How big are they?
Oh, let's look. They're very small though. You know, both the Siccus might be a little bigger, but they're both really small. 0.3 to 1.5 centimeters diameter with and up to 2. So they can be like, you know, still smaller than an inch, like would be a really, really big one.
Yeah. For Pulcheripes, whatever that thing was called.
Pulcheripes. Let's just see what it says for Siccus, just for fun.
I would think
Siccus
that would
is
be
a little
bigger.
bit bigger, 2.25 to 2.7 centimeters. So it gets a little bit bigger.
Okay.
And let's see if Siccus is also grows on a variety of different things. Let's see. Ecology on leaf litter, needles, twigs, or rarely on wood. Same thing.
Yeah.
So it's really the color that separates these two, apparently.
Well, is there a white one that you know of, Dave?
Rotula.
Rotula.
Yeah, and there's the other Rotula's on wood, and then there's one that's on leaf litter. Capillaris. Yeah. Yep.
Cool. All right. Cool.
Does anyone know what the name means? Pulcheripes?
I think the pulcher part alludes to like beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And then peas would be foot, right?
Yeah, beautiful foot.
Wow.
You know what? There's another thing that looks a little like these as well, and it's not in the same genus. Oh, what's that genus? Oh boy, I'll think of it. I think it's a split off of Mycena actually, but it looks a little bit like these. Can't think of. I'll find.
Mycenatopsis or something like that.
Nah, it doesn't sound like Mycena. It's a provocative sounding genus name. Like it's named after a Greek god or something. Adonis or something like that.
Atheniella?
Atheniella. Yeah, there you go. Atheniella. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that's kind of similar, but the marasmias are more resilient. You know, they dry out and they rehydrate and they come back. But this Atheniella thing, which is also pink, I'm pretty sure, is more delicate and fleeting.
But when you're, because I know Atheniella adonis is the only species I know in Atheniella. Isn't that like a swamp critter, like a moss inhabitant? Or am I thinking of something else?
It might be, but I think I found it on like spruce needles on fairly dry. I think I'd have to review. Maybe I'm mixing it up with something else, but let's see what it says. There's a picture on Mycoquebec. It's growing on what looks like spruce debris. Let's see what it says. Because maybe it grows in moss also, I'm not sure. Ecology, on the ground among mosses, sphagnum, or conifer litter. So it's all of the above.
So okay. We both remembered that correctly, but I wouldn't assume that it could do both. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see if this works. I could upload them right now into iNet from my phone. And then will they be there? Oh. I thought that would happen faster. Maybe if I make it do something else. Oh, well, I guess not.
Which one were you trying to open?
I'm trying to I just uploaded 2 new ones I put them from my phone. I did it from my phone and I'm trying to see if this thing will like refresh.
No, you need to refresh your phone. It'll upload from your phone. I've done it 1,000 times. I forgot to upload it. Finish the upload from my phone.
No, it did it on my phone. It should be there. I don't know how to like refresh the iNaturalist. Oh, there's one. Yeah, I guess it just takes a minute. If I go back in there. Yeah, this one is, well, there's a couple of these in the next one, but this one is just these lighter colored ones here. They had a bunch of the white at the bottom. But really, like a lot of this was pretty smooth on the upper part of the stipe.
Any staining?
Nah, look, I did this scratch. It just kind of,
A little
you know,
gray there.
like you damage the flesh, but it didn't actually turn a color. Like whatever color that is just, you know, whatever you like you mushed it up or something. But there was a couple of these around.
So not Imleria badia. Are those whitish in the pores in this shot?
Looks kind of yellowish, I would
Yeah.
say.
This is
That looks to me
Xanthoconium.
like Tilapilus.
It's
like-
Xanthoconium.
Oh, Xanthoconium, you think? You don't think that's Tilapilus?
You have to zoom in. I have to see that stipe.
Yeah, that didn't
To
come
me, it
out
looks
that
like more
great.
like Xanthoconium. It might be Tilapilus. It's tough to tell. The pore surface is sort of acey-deucey here.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see where you would think it was Xanthoconium. It looks like Tilapilus to me, but those pores look like Tilapilus, though. They're fairly open and mature, and they're still, they're not showing any yellow or ochre. At least I don't see it.
But they're not white or pinkish, and the staining here is.
They're not pinkish. Yeah, true. Yeah. Interesting.
And I think this
there's
is
some staining. That's right. Look at there's some bruise. There's like a grayish. So maybe this is Imleria pallida.
And I think this is
Imleria pallida doesn't have that brown of a stipe. Imleria badia it might be, but not
Imleria badia. Okay. Was it on? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe it's Imleria. Whatever it is, it looks like it dried out, and so it doesn't look like what you would expect.
Yeah, but all the genera that we're talking about, Xanthoconium, Tilapilus, and Imleria, are in the Bolete, so we're fishing essentially in the same, larger pond.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're all related genera, away from all the other, things in the, in the Bolete. I mean, of course, you have Boletus in here, and maybe a few other things, but yeah, Xericamellis and Hortiboletus, I think part of that as well. Which are kind of oddballs because they are red and yellow staining, blue staining boletes. Yeah, it's
sorry, Igor. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I think this is the best shot we have of the reticulation at the stipe apex.
Yeah, I thought I noticed some reticulation on the stipe.
You know what? I actually have this. Let me look to see.
Can we zoom in on this one again?
Tilapilus and Xanthoconium, it's all about picture taking and how you take pictures and what your camera is like. It's lighting conditions. I mean, chances are this is Tilapilus. I don't think this is Imleria.
Yeah, I don't think I'd call that reticulation.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Me either.
It's like a pigment, broken lines in there. It sort of gives you an appearance. It's a streaky thing.
Yeah.
Right. Right, but definitely smooth. Reticulation usually has that bit of depth.
No, I mean, you should have got this thing, and if it's stained pink, then we would know this is Tilapilus. So
you've got it, though. He says he's got it.
Well, I'm not seeing it.
No, I have the body, and it is very smooth there. It's a lot uglier than it was when I.
You want to bisect it? How old is it?
Day and a half, 2.
It will still stain. It will still stain. I mean, if you kept it in the, I mean, these things are typically robust. They can last for a couple of days, even at room temperature. I mean, they're better off in the fridge, obviously, but.
No, it definitely shrunk up. It's drying up a bit.
Oh, cut it in half and see what happens.
That staining doesn't look brown. It looks gray.
And if I cut this in half right now, you say it'll still stain, huh?
Yeah, scratch the pores again also.
Now, it's important that in the malaria, the flesh is whitish, but it also has brownish stones inside, even before you cut it. So in malaria, the brownish tinges in the flesh, in the context, are not staining. It's the natural color.
Right.
All Tilapilus is white and will definitely stain pink, and you'll see the staining. Because it's going to be immediate, but you'll see the changeover.
Oh, there's maggots in it. Look at that.
Wonderful.
That is delightful.
Yeah. What's the habitat like?
Shark River Park.
Okay.
So, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you can find, we have Xanthoconium in the Pine Barrens. Yeah. And there's Tilapilus in the Pine Barrens, especially the bitter ones.
Yeah, that thing's not staining any color. It might just be old. Maybe a little.
Taste it.
The pore surface should be also. I mean,
I will
if the
not be
pore
doing
surface
that.
is brown or pink, then it's Stalopilus. If the pore surface is yellowish or yellowish brown, that's Xanthoconium.
Yeah, I mean, if it was anything, it was like a yellow, like a whitish to yellowish.
Yeah, maybe this is a really faded Xanthoconium purpureum.
Well, let's see the pictures again. Yeah, let's zoom into this one. We've seen it, I think, already. It wasn't very crisp.
Yeah.
Yeah, the caps are brown, kind of a
Beige.
beige, yeah, sandy colored, suede kind of.
Right. Like a sandy color, I would say was
Yeah.
like the most, that's pretty accurate. Because even against all the brown of the leaves, they have that like tan thing happening.
Yeah, yeah. Those I had problems before, separating visually in the photographic mode between Tolopolis and Xanthoconium. It's sometimes just not that straightforward.
There was
But
even a bunch of little ones popping up back.
yeah, but once you have them in hand, then you can see clearly it's one or the other. Yeah, that's where we draw the line. Can't be too sure. No cross section, no taste.
What's
Because
that other mushroom in the picture?
Yeah, I'm trying to
if
get
these were
back.
bitter, that would basically settle the argument right away.
Right.
Get back to that. Your observations.
Bitter being the Xanthoconium.
No, Tolopolis.
Tolopolis. Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is what I thought it was. Alexandra longicurvipes. Yeah. These are good edibles. Vaccinum longicurvipes.
Beautiful.
It's S-shaped and it's a vaccinnoid mushroom. I wouldn't call this vaccinum, but according to Kuo and Ortiz Santana, it is.
Man, I gotta tell you, I opened up my Beset book and I looked through it for a while and then I shut it in despair.
Oh, but Boletes are so easy for the most part. I mean, I wouldn't deal with any of those guilt things.
Ha!
Yeah.
This used to be considered to be two different species.
Yeah, Ernst both proposed this to the Carugis, and that was folded in, deprecated.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if that was done with DNA or, people just said, okay, morphologically, they have to be the same thing. So
yeah, that one is darker and more wrinkled.
yeah, I would still sequence Ernst both
Yep.
type just to be sure.
Yep. I think they're the same. I think the ones that are darker and more wrinkled are just older.
They're older, or I mean, the morphology here again varies with age and environment and habitat. All boletes are flexible in that way, but this is clearly that. I mean, I make my
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. So, do you think this should be in Hemilexinum?
No, this is definitely not Hemilexinum. This is straight in the Lexinoidae and not Xerocomoidae. So these are definitely Lexinoid mushrooms, and Kuo and Ortiz tuck it into the greater Lexinum. It used to be Lexinellum.
Oh, it used to be Lexinellum. Okay.
Yeah.
Ah.
I mean, I still call it Lexinellum, sort of, because again, for me, Lexinum is something very specific.
Right. So, are these actually genetically related to albellum?
I have to pull up the tree, but as far as I recall, they're not. They're elsewhere.
Yeah.
They tend to sit in their own branch, and I think away from all that Lexinellum is basically scattered in the tree of Lexinum. And you have to pull up that paper from 2020, and you'll see that
that's
it's
probably why Quo and company put them all in Lexinum, because they're just
no,
it's like
you
the
have to read
same
the
thing that
paper.
happened with Colibia.
You have to read the paper. Again, they
Yeah.
base their conclusions, or I would not say even a conclusion or inference, based on a phylogenetic tree with 4 or 5 genes in it, and they said that it's better to have a bigger genus than 15 new genera.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. If these are all over the place in the tree,
well, not quite like all over the place. I mean, they are separate from Boletus, but then you have to see again, where do you draw the lines between genera when you look at the phylogenetic tree at all the nodes. This is where the difficult stuff begins. You have to look at the morphology, I think, and I would go with multiple genera, because everything that DNA has done so far was to split everything up in a crazy way.
That's true. That is the direction that things have gone.
Yeah.
And you can see an argument for that, because evolution proceeds on different levels, and it takes place on the level of genus.
So again, you could have a very big genus with a very complicated structure consisting of subgenera, sections, subsections, etc., just like in Quaternarius, you see, pretty much, or maybe even Amanita to some extent. And then, or you can have like a bunch of different genera, where you have to assign a genus based on not only on a specific node, and you have to apply the same methodology across the entire tree, of course. And then you have to separate, the morphology as well. So that would be, I think, the thing of the future. There was a paper by Elsvillinga and co-authors on, spelling out a number of different criteria that support creation of a genus, a new genus. And a lot of people had forgotten about that paper, but it was a well-written and a well-argued paper. And I think you have to take that paper and you have to look at your whole genome sequencing tree and then come up with a better set of rules. So, I don't care if you call it Lexinum or Lexinellum. And by the way, Lexinellum is polyphyletic, so we have to define what Lexinellum really is.
Yeah.
Go to the type species for the genus, which I think is Lexinum crucipodium. Or Lexinellum crucipodium, and then deal with the rest of them.
I feel like this is why I'm confused when I open that book.
No, you just have to see more boletes and spend 20 years of your life studying them.
Yeah, you just have to see them a lot.
All right, only like, I don't know, like 17 more to go then.
You have to know generic concepts, and once you grasp those, then you can deal with species. Or some species are so distinct, you can basically go with the species name right away.
Well, thank you very much for that identification, because I had 0.
Yeah, take, with these brown Celopolis and Taconium, you have to take slightly better pictures, because, these things, when they're in photographs, with all the lighting going on and shadows, I should say, it gets kind of, messy and difficult. On the other hand, like Lactifluus, you cannot confuse that thing with anything else. It's a very simple mushroom.
that one's very distinctive.
So the stipe, just the shape of it, that's a big deal.
No, it's not the stipe, it's the colors. It's the sticky cap. It's the KOH reaction on the cap, which is going to be cherry red.
Oh.
Non-staining surface, the scabers. Yeah, you have to basically, look at the whole gestalt, of different things merged into a concept. Yeah, but they're graceful. They're Lexinum-like.
Yeah, they have a ornamentation on the stipe is not unlike Lexinum. And they're usually pretty sticky too.
Not
The
only
caps.
they're unlike Vixinum, they are definitely scabers. They're just like
They
Vixinum.
are scabers. Okay.
Oh, really? Because I found some today that I would have lunch curved peas, like Sinum lunch curved peas, that looked, and I also found Hemilixinum rubra punctum. And while those, what do you call them, oil drops on rubra punctum were more tightly compacted, they look real similar.
I mean, they both don't stain. And I've seen some dried up or worn out longicurvipes where scabers were pretty much like, very dry and flat, squamule-like, structures, as opposed to these bushy, large scabers that you see in Chris's specimen.
Bushy.
Bushy looking, yeah, they look like, like tufts.
Yeah,
If you
look
look through
at
the
them
lens,
through a loop.
yeah, you have to look, through the loop, through the lens, to appreciate the structure of those scabers.
Hmm.
Yeah, very three-dimensional.
Right, and didn't you say they point up?
Yeah, they I think point up.
All right, I'm gonna have to,
They
look
tend
at
to have
that.
one direction, but not always. Yeah, they can point to the side as well, but mostly up, not down. I don't think
Wow.
that really matters. Look up Lingicurpes on the Moan and INAT, and you'll get a good feel for the species. You have to obviously deal with well-identified collections, but since this is a very easy bolete, I think the chances of misidentifying it are fairly low.
Yeah, there were so many this past little while. There's been so many different boletes in Shark River. It's
Yeah, well,
so crazy.
I'm not happy that we're only going to be there in a few days because it hasn't rained there in a while, and I think everything is probably drying up.
There was a peak about 2 weeks ago, two and a
Yeah.
half weeks ago, where it was like the whole place was there's just mushrooms falling off of everything.
That's right. Well, we had our rains in July, and we had 3 nice forays in a row.
But there's still a lot going on over there.
Yeah, and we'll probably get maybe a shower or something, and there could be some more. But yeah, I'll be there for the IDU session. I'm curious what people are going to bring back from the woods. It's a nice place. I think this is going to be our 3rd year there, or maybe only 2nd.
3rd, I
I
think.
think it's the 3rd.
I think it's the
3rd.
3rd, yeah.
Yeah. So just a heads up, I know it's been many weeks, but Mary Tullis said that they were going to try to get to Shark River. They've been trying to get there for a couple of years, so maybe they will show up.
Well, that's nice.
I don't think I'm going to make it, so be on the lookout for them.
We surely will be. Chris, I sent you something in email maybe like an hour ago. I know you can wait till next time, till the next Taxonomy Tuesday session next Tuesday to present it, since we only have 9 people left here. But
oh, I see it. That's your call. You want to take a look at it? We could take a look.
yeah, we could. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, So if it's 9 people or 20 people,
you can show it again next week if you want.
Yeah. So at the Helen Micnus foray in Montalto, which is the Eastern Pen Mushrooms foray, we came across, when I counted several times on the table during the Sunday stable talk, 42 species of boletes in 21 or 22 genera, roughly. This was probably one of the most perplexing boletes on the table. Everything else was, with exception of one species that I'm not going to talk about right now. This thing was the most perplexing object on the bolete table, and bicolor-like boletes, not bicolor, bicolor-like, red and yellow with bluing. Okay, they are difficult, and this, I think, example sort of shows this. I don't think this is a bicolor. This is definitely not Lanmaoa pallida rosea, and I don't think this is Lanmaoa felix, which pretty much looks like pallida rosea. The pigments in this thing were much, much darker. They were deeper and more vivid. The cap was purple-red, and the stipe you saw consisted of these streaks of red in various intensity, whitish, reddish, or deep, deep red. The flesh didn't stain much. The tubes are shallow. I do believe most likely this is a Lanmaoa species, and it had a faint smell of what, to my nose, smelled like maybe beef bouillon. But when odors are really faint, you tend to misinterpret them. All right, and the bluing on the pores became olive brown or just brown. And we came across 3 separate collections of this thing, but I'm showing only this one because it's actually in great shape. It's not too young, it's not too old. It's actually right in the middle. The pores are very tiny, but look at that color in the stipe. It's angry red at the bottom, and then these streaks go almost all the way to the top, where the apex is, then suddenly yellow. But I don't recognize the species. Like I said, it's not anything I've seen so far in either Lanmaoa or Biorangia. And I don't think this is Pulchroboletus either. Well, it's certainly not Sclerotiorum or Pseudosclerotiorum.
Do those stain more than this?
Yeah, they stain more, and Pseudosclerotiorum stains really, really deeply, darkly blue at the bottom of the stipe or the lower third. Whereas Sclerotiorum sort of stains blue everywhere, but it's not like intense blue. It's kind of more, it doesn't cover the entire cross section like you would see in, say, Lanmaoa or Bolete sensibile or in Neoboletus. It's bluing, but it's fainter and not uniformly across the entire cross section. But there's plenty of bluing for sure. I mean, this one sort of had a bluish haze in the cap, and these spots in the bluish spots in the context. Look at that color, purplish red, and the cap is like almost glossy. It's not velvety.
Yeah, this doesn't look like bicolor to me either. It's it's sort of like a variety of things are different.
Now, the copious white mycelium that you see here crawling up the stipe is a feature that I've seen prominently in Pulchroboletus. So this is why I'm saying that I'm not quite certain what we're seeing here, but my bet it's Lanmaoa, and I propose Lanmaoa species Pennsylvania 01 just because I want to segregate this collection from everything else so we can find this easily. And Dave has an early observation of this fruiting body and another fruiting body that we found elsewhere on this road, which is Three Springs Road in Michelle State Forest.
Is this the one when we parked and you jumped out and found it right away when we parked?
Yeah, that's what Dave came back with. A very old fruiting body and a very young fruiting body. And they're both the same thing because they were found together.
Yeah.
And it's already posted to MO. And I think the number for that one, you can type in maybe in MO and find it. Just want to show it for comparison purposes. The observation number for that one is 581989.
Where do I type that here?
58 year 1989.
Up on the address line, I think if you back it up there, up in the black on your browser.
If you highlight that number,
right there,
change that number to 581989. So 1 unit below.
Yeah, 1989.
They changed the way that works. You have to click
no.
search.
Click there and erase 90 and type in. Just put the cursor. Yeah, erase 90.
Does that work?
Yeah.
And type in 89. and click enter. There you
Oh,
go.
it did work. Okay.
Of course it
Oh, there
works.
we are.
Yeah.
I just can't help but try to picture Igor jumping out of the car. That's
Well, we almost jumped out of the car when we saw Amphilotus illudens growing near a dead oak, like everywhere. So yeah, same kind of idea. White mycelium crawling up the stipe, purplish red cap, all these bright, deep red streakiness, bluing pores. Let's see the cross section here.
Recessed pore attachment.
This one, interestingly, blued almost exclusively in the cap and very heavily. So this is immediately after cross section, maybe 15, 20 seconds afterwards. And this is after 3 minutes. You can see that it's mostly blue in the cap, but you have some spots in the stipe as well.
Right along the edge there.
Next to the skin. Yeah, next to the outer, to the skin layer. And this is the old fruiting body. So you see that the color doesn't really fade much, even though this thing was 6 inches across, at least I think, and it was pretty much rotten and then dead. It still had its pigment, very bright.
Even the inside is so bright.
Exactly. Oh, well, the stipe flesh in these things is always yellow and doesn't fade much in age. It's the cap flesh that that tends to be white and marshmallowy when old. So yeah, I think it's the same thing. And there's a third observation that you may want to go to if you want to change that number again. The number is so erase 89 and type 995.
Oh no, I think I lost it now.
Just hit the back arrow there on the left. Go back. Okay.
Aha.
Now you can type it.
Change the 0 to 5. Yeah, this unfortunately was taken indoors, but it's almost certainly the same thing. You can see the cap, glossy, same pigment as that old fruit body from collection 01. So this is collection 3, I called. Yeah, same streakiness in the stipe, bright colors.
It just stops right there too.
Yeah, it stops right there. The yellow apex, brown, changing over to brown. And then when you cut it, you'll see the flesh. So actually, this photograph is out of sequence. This is what it became 15 minutes after slicing, and this is immediately after slicing. So again, you see these patchy but dark bluing. So it's kind of, a little bit inconsistent across these 3 specimens, but kind of pretty much the same. There's more bluing in the young one and less so in the older specimens. So I saved all of them. I mean, half the specimen because the remainder was on the table. I just left it there because we needed specimens for the, to match the tags. But all these specimens are dried, portions of them, and I'll try to get them sequenced. So I would like to think it's a new species, but you never know.
Cool, Pennsylvania 01.
Yeah, and again, the odor was invariably very faint and kind of reminiscent of beef bouillon, but not quite the same.
Yep, I got the same thing for the odor.
Yeah. There's a species of Lanmaoa that's going to be published as such with the same name, Phalax, Lanmaoa phalax. And that one resembles Spelliderosea very, very much. And I thought maybe this is that, but now I don't think it is. There's something about that mycelium and these very, very bright, non-fading colors.
Well, I was going to ask about Boletus.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look dissimilar to this. It doesn't have dissimilar staining, right?
No, Boletus is going to stain more prominently, especially at the bottom of the stipe, and especially in Pseudosclerotiorum. I mean, if you look
Yeah.
at this picture, it may give you an idea that this could be Pseudosclerotiorum.
Okay.
But I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
Yeah, and I'm not making the argument that it is.
I mean, you could, and it would be a very good argument, because, like I said, all these bicolor types, they can get very confusing very quickly.
Oh yeah, no, that I can attest to for sure.
You've got to collect and sequence, and then when you have both of them, you can link the species epithet to a species concept for the most part. So Pseudosclerotiorum is going to have a yellow band of sterile tissue on the edge of the cap, and Pseudosclerotiorum probably has that too, but not to the same extent. But the colors here are just way too bright for either species, in my opinion. And the bluing is, yeah. And the flesh, I think, in Pseudosclerotiorum is also, it's kind of lighter yellow, maybe. And you see some marbling in the stipe or some pithiness. Not as homogeneously structured tissue as in Lanmaoa, for instance, or Biorangia. So, yeah, I mean, that's all I can say about these things. Now we have to get a sequence, and we'll know for sure if there's a sequence.
So are the other ones that kind of look like these? I mean, are they related on some level?
I mean the other ones. What do you mean the other ones?
Like you were saying that this one looks a lot, like the other one. I mean, I have one that comes up under in my backyard every year that looks fairly similar to this,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
mean
like the
they're all
size
kind
of like a quarter.
Look, identifying these, I wouldn't say it requires any subjectiveness. You have to be objective, but you have to see enough of these to say, okay, I know this is a bicolor. I know this is pallida rosea, and pseudosensibilis is easy, I think, because the caps are brown, not red. And then you have Pulchroboletus, which have, the reds are of a different shade of red. They're more maybe orange red or maybe more pink in some cases.
Well, I
I mean,
guess that's what I'm wondering. Like, are these at least like, are they closely related? Are they distant and they all just
no,
happen to look like each other?
no. This is the point I raised in a comment in one of the observations of Pseudosclerotiorum, that these bicolor-like boletes, most of them are indeed in the subfamily Suileloidae, okay, like Biorangia, Lanmaoa, Pseudoboletus. What else we have there? I think that's pretty much it. And then you have Pulchroboletus, which is in a different subfamily. It's in the same subfamily as Xerocomus. It's Xerocomoidae. Okay, and then you have the lesser red and yellow blue staining boletes like Hortiboletus, and that's a different subfamily altogether. So my point is that even though you can draw like a common denominator for all these things, they are bluing, they have yellow pores, they have red caps, and yellow stipes with red pigment in them to various degrees. Okay, they have all evolved multiple times independently over a course of evolutionary times. So they are not related to each other. They come from different walks of life in Bolete.
I wonder if there's something, if that makes it, every time you hear about something that's, it's a copy of this, or they, independently kind of landed in the same place. Like, was there, is there a reason for that,
Remember, you have to think about millions of years of evolution and how many species we have lost during that enormous span of time. Eternity.
I mean, you
Okay,
were just mentioning earlier in the,
yeah, I mean,
that
think
the
about
one
this.
was real old, and they used to just, they used to eat other stuff like puffballs.
Exactly. I mean,
convergent evolution, right?
Yeah.
Pseudoboletus parasiticus is an ancient species. Its lineage is ancient. It sits at the baseline of Bolete. These are the most primitive early boletes that Earth, has had. It just happens to be the only extant species from that branch. But it doesn't mean it was the only one. We might have lost quite a few of them along the way.
Yeah.
So what you're looking at right now are the extant species of Bolete, but you have to look, 50, 60 million years ago across that entire span of those 50, 60 millions and see what the species were like back then. And we lost them. We don't have the data. They're gone.
I get that same feeling. I have a ginkgo in my backyard, and I like
So-
just like staring at the leaves on that thing, and the way they actually like pop out the side of the bark is very weird. Like it's this thing that is like nothing else.
Right. So the mosaic that we're looking at is very fragmentary. Okay, we're trying to connect dots that are not that close, but they might have been closer, say 20 million years ago, because we had more species from the same genera, or maybe we had additional genera which are now missing.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's like a Swiss cheese model. You have to align the holes to see the light, to the end of the tunnel. But we're not seeing that, and that's the problem.
Isn't Philoporus kind of an ancient species too?
Philoporus, well, you can argue that it could be a primitive bolete because it has gills, but it could have evolved just separately, much later on. We don't know the exact age of Philoporus. I mean, there's a paper that actually features a molecular clock. They're trying to estimate the ages of different genera in Bolete, and I think it's the paper by Dentinger from 2024 that has that, or maybe not the paper before them.
That I think that's you sent me that. I know for sure.
Right.
You're the one that sent me that.
So
and when I read that, I saw Philoporus as in that tree, really ancient, which is super interesting.
Well, the question is Philoporus sitting at the bottom of the subfamily Xericomoidae? Because remember, we have all these 7 subfamilies, and then they'll be stacked one above the other in the tree. So the question is, okay, so that subfamily, it has a certain age. It has its own timestamp, right, on the tree. So that's the common precursor to the whole subfamily, and then it's branching out to these multiple genera, including Philoporus. So I wouldn't say that Philoporus necessarily has to be the ancient, an ancient lineage. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
It's mycorrhizal. And the question is, well, where did it come from? Why gills? Why not pores? Are gills older than pores?
Wasn't there that one weird thing that was pretty much a Philoporus from I think it was from Africa?
Yeah, I remember some papers on African boletes. I didn't really read them carefully. Yeah, Africa is a totally different ball game.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I don't even know what's in there, but everything there is exotic. Everything there is exotic in Bolete, and not necessarily closely related to anything else, including their own chanterelles, I think, which obviously not boletes, but I'm just thinking of a paper that I saw some time ago on African chanterelles.
Yeah, you sent me a paper on this was maybe 2 years ago on a gilled bolete. I don't know if it was housed in Philoporus or Philoporus, whatever. But it was an ancient African, like it lined up.
I vaguely recall, but I cannot produce a name or the name of the paper, the name of the mushroom or the name of the paper. I vaguely recall I did send you something. Now that you mention it, but I have to find it. It's probably buried somewhere in my email.
Oh yeah.
But look at this.
It's just that added note on, these things don't necessarily have to look the same to be closely related, or they can look exactly the same and not be closely related.
That's the point, that the morphology has evolved multiple times independently over the course of that time period. And I'm talking about, 60 to 80 million years ago. The origin of Bolete, I think, goes back to maybe, 85 or 90, maybe even more. I have to look at that paper. But again, because it's such a lengthy period of time, things have evolved, non-linearly, okay, not contiguously. They just popped up. The origin of species, right? Darwin. How would we deal with that subject? So also recall the bolete, the gilt bolete that you find in the pine barrens, Philipperopsis. Boletinoides.
Yeah.
It's not a member of Xeracomoideae. It's not related to Philipporus. I don't think it is.
Oh, interesting. And also interesting is because since I found that thing, I looked into kind of its distribution. It is a southern species for sure, in terms of its distribution in the U.S. I'm pretty sure it reaches its northernmost distribution in southern New Jersey.
Right, but you can make an argument.
The north is the new south.
The thing is, if New Jersey is the northernmost location for Philipperopsis, then you can make an argument that it crawled up from the south to north. But there are other species that are distributed, from Canada all the way down to Alabama, to the Gulf Coast. And then the question is, and some of them even found their way somehow into the Caribbean basin. And then what kind of argument do you make with that? Are they northern distribution that went all the way south, or it's the other way around?
No, it's that first part. It is,
Well, I'm talking about Retiboletus pseudosensibilis that was originally described from the Dominican Republic, I think.
Oh wow!
But we find this in the USA everywhere, in all the way up to southeastern Canada.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so is it a species from from the temperate climate that sort of went south, with its host trees?
Well, and are we still recording?
We're still recording.
Yeah, but we're probably about there on that.
Well, I just want to say, as someone that we all know, friend of the club, Jason, has told me an anecdote recently where it became a joke at a conference that he was at, where everyone was talking about, oh, Jason's from New Jersey, so that's where everything meets their northernmost distribution as well as their southernmost distribution, coming north to south.
Yeah, a lot of things do, but I prefer to quote the Mason-Dixon line. That's my cutoff for the Bolete.
Interesting. Okay.